This energy of the Lovers, this is somebody who will stop at nothing to make you theirs, to call you their own. There may be some obstacles and challenges between the two of you at this point in time. Geographic distance, there may be cultural differences, there may have been fears or, patterns of behavior, karmic wounding, karmic people that could have gotten in the way of this connection in the past that has made for a slow start or slow progression recently between the two of you. This is somebody that even though there is stillness, there is silence, there is a necessary waiting period. I'm hearing watch and wait. This is somebody that's like, watch and wait. I'm going to turn this around for us. Watch and wait. I'm not just going to sit here and do nothing. This is somebody that is strategizing a plan forward, something that will work for the two of you, that also honors like a necessary period of kind of like wrapping up certain cycles cleanly. Something where it's like if compromises need to be made, if sacrifices need to be made, then we're both going to do that. I'm not going to expect you to drop everything in the interest of this connection, nor am I going to be the person, that is totally like walking away from everything just to come to you empty-handed. So this is somebody that it feels like is doing a lot of research behind the scenes as well, maybe looking at, transfer as far as jobs are concerned, looking at real estate or rentals somewhere that is like closer to where you are, or something that might be kind of like a shared destination, something that you both talked about is like, wouldn't it be nice to move to this kind of place, or, get out of the city in the interest of something rural, or if you find yourselves in small communities, kind of like moving to a big city, something like that, where it feels like they want to bring forth to you, a plan of action, actionable steps that the two of you can take in order to sort of work with what you have in the time frame, that's appropriate, reasonable, nothing that is kind of like impulsive or irrational choices moving forward, but something that brings forth like methodical step-by-step plan, that it may take a little while to get to that destination with one another of like, okay, we're on that level playing field. There's nothing that stands between us any longer, and we can love one another out in the open, out in the light of day. But this is definitely somebody that they don't want to give up at this point. They don't want to look at the previous circumstances and say, well, it's too difficult. I guess we better throw in the towel. I guess it's not meant to be. I guess these challenges are like a sign or an indicator that our romantic interests or our interests as people are better served in other directions. Yeah, we got the Knight of Swords. So this feels like something where they want to work with you. This is somebody that wants to open up about a lot of their fears and hesitations about steps forward that they may need to take, as well as being very honest with you or giving you like a clearer picture of what they're working with in their life. Maybe finances are holding them back. And so there's a sense of like, I need to wait until I can find a better job, until a transfer comes in, or I'm able to save up enough money, to like pick up and relocate, to change my life in some sort of way that brings me closer to you, gives me more, like time and space and energy in my life in general, where I can focus on this connection. This may be somebody that is working towards goals professionally at this time, and it's like they want to give more to you, but they're strapped for cash, they're strapped for time. There's other things that they're like investing in and that they are moving towards in terms of those long-term goals. But there is also a sense of really providing you with certain reassurances, so it's not just like, well, I've set these wheels in motion to kind of take my life in a particular direction, and you've captured my heart, you've caught my attention. I see that there's a real connection between the two of us, but it's not going to be something that fits very neatly or very seamlessly into the plan that I have in place, or that I'm already kind of walking in terms of like a path, and so I guess it's not meant to be. This is something where they want to kind of like let you know, hey, I value you a lot, I value this connection, I value what we have and what we can build with one another, but this is sort of like where I'm at this point in my life. It feels like this person has also been working to kind of like face certain fears and really ask themselves, like, what am I so afraid of? Yeah, I could fall in love with you and then it falls apart later, but why would I risk missing out on, a beautiful experience with you, a window of time where we could have more closeness, where we could have the adventure of this love story lived out loud? Why would I look at these challenges and sort of turn away? I don't want something shallow. I don't want something easy. It's somebody that it feels like they have recognized at this point that, like, other things of value have taken work and effort in their life. And so they're connecting the dots to kind of equate that with this circumstance with you, that this is like an epic love story. This is something that can blossom into something very mutually fulfilling and mutually beneficial for the two of you, but it's going to require effort. It's going to require leaps of faith forward. And so this is somebody that's like up for the challenge, and wanting to kind of bring you in as that co-creator with them, in terms of like, okay, so this is where we at, this is where we want to be, what do we need to do moving forward in order to get closer to that in a manner that ensures that we're like stepping forth into the energy of abundance, or bringing as much of that abundance from our own individual situations with us forward into this next experience with each other. So this is almost somebody that they're wanting to be more clear about their intentions with you, but really wanting to open that up for a discussion. Like, these are my intentions, these are my plans, these are my thoughts, this is my vision for the future. How does that sit with you? Where do you factor things in with us? Is that workable for you? Is that doable for you? What do you think that we can do in the meantime in order to create more closeness? Because I don't want to lose you. I choose you in this situation. I don't want us to drift apart. We also have the Fool. Yeah, so this may be kind of like a big shift in this person's personal narrative arc that needs to take place in order to bring them into more of a place of alignment within themselves and within the circumstances of their material life in general, that they're very motivated to kind of like ignite that, to spark that torch that then leads the two of you forward, or leads them forward beyond their comfort zone, beyond whatever the limits are at this point in time. And this is somebody that's almost like, I'll take that leap of faith forward first to show you on good faith that, like, yeah, I'm committed to moving beyond the obstacles. I'm committed to seeing what happens next between the two of us. I'm not just expecting you to drop everything and walk away from the life that you've been living, kind of on the faith or the trust that I'll follow. It's sort of like, I'll take that step forward first, and that will encourage you to kind of do what you need to do in order to pick up, regroup, and focus in another direction. It might even be something, not as dramatic for some people, as kind of like, big relocation, or, walking away from like previous patterns or things that they've had going on in their life. But this could even just be like a big shift as far as your communication is concerned. Like, where if they'd kept a lot of these sort of thoughts and plans to themselves, they'd sort of internalize those fears in certain ways. This is the energy of somebody that's like, I need to get this all out on the table. Maybe that level of honesty is the bridge that we can, cross between hearts, between one another, so that you get where that I'm coming from, and you are encouraged to be very kind of like honest about sort of like what you want and what the limitations are for you as well. And there's a sense of almost building in that energy of kind of the liminal space at this point in time, while you may be, again, kind of like waiting for the timing on certain things, waiting for a promotion to come in, waiting for a raise, waiting for, another job, another opportunity, other kind of things that this person may needing to be sort of like walking away from, or you're needing to walk away from in your own life, that signals freeing yourselves materially, emotionally, energetically, actually, from circumstances that are obstacles or that stand in the way, from the free expression of this love, and kind of building in the same direction, having that fresh start, having that new beginning with one another. We've also got the star. Yeah, so this is something where you're both going to have to kind of like navigate on faith. You're going to have to sort of chart a course forward based on, not kind of the easy path or what would be something that is just kind of like, oh, a simple step forward. But this is almost something like getting into unknown territory, kind of trusting that the stars have aligned to bring the two of you to this point in both of your realities, and that by working together and kind of like using very unique strategies or sort of like holding on to hope even when it may be challenging, even when it's like, yeah, I'd like to be closer to you, I'd like to be with you, but that's not something that's, realistic tomorrow. That's something that's going to take a few months. That's something that, I'm not able to do that this year, or, something where we're going to have to plan, we're going to have to save up for that. It's going to be this kind of slow progression forward. If these are like fears that are an obstacle between the two of you, or maybe even kind of like a fear of what would people think about this connection, if that's a factor for some of you, then it's kind of like I can take steps beyond that comfort zone little by little, or maybe that's a factor on your end of the equation as well, and like I need to take little steps beyond that sort of threshold within myself, and we can continue to meet in the middle with each other, and then move forward from that point. But this is something where this person doesn't want you to feel like you're the only one kind of like taking that leap of faith. They don't want you to feel that you're the only one that kind of like sees all this potential between the two of you. Like they feel that it would be very unfortunate if this were something where it's like, okay, it's not just sort of an easy thing, us being together or whatever the next step is between the two of you, and to kind of just walk away from that. There's a sense that they know that they would never be able to replace you. They'd never find someone else like you. And that this is really an opportunity, for the two of you to work together in order to find a way forward, because the way forward, like from this point for the two of you, it's not a simple thing, it feels like. And that might even just be like someone that's, it's hard for me to open up and talk about my feelings. It's not a simple thing for me to express or, cast illumination upon the truth of what I feel in my heart, about you and about a great many things. And so, little steps forward to kind of evolve beyond that comfort zone with you and to encourage you to do that as well. It feels like that might be something for a lot of people, that this person is like, yeah, this is something that we can do at this particular point in time. There's even kind of an energy of this person sort of seeing like you're at a standstill with one another materially maybe at this point, and instead of just sort of looking at the time and kind of cursing it or feeling that it's like, okay, this sucks, we need to kind of just sit here, we can't be together right away, that there's a sense of like, in the meantime, you can fill this space with different sorts of ways that you get very creative about connection with one another. That this might be almost the energy of sort of like, okay, we're sitting here in, our opposite corners or our opposite sides of the world, or different kind of aspects within our lives that sort of keep us at a distance from one another. But that doesn't mean that it needs to just be at a standstill. Like maybe this is here, this kind of gulf, this chasm is here at this particular point in time, because we are encouraged to kind of like, build in that sort of spiritual plane, that energy of trust, that energy of like full disclosure, truths that are held within the heart. That may be something that is kind of like a key ingredient for the two of you before there's material progress forward. So they're kind of looking at it like, let's make the most of this opportunity. Let's not just kind of look at this in like a frustrated or pessimistic sense, but really let's kind of like optimize this potential. Let's work with it. Let's do what we can with it. I said the Two of Wands. So this person is definitely thinking of the future. They are looking very hard. They're trying to come up with a solution. They're trying to like manifest change for themselves, that has something to do with like their material situation. This may be somebody that is like introspecting. They're kind of looking within. They're doing a little bit of self-help. They're kind of like facing their shadows or internal obstacles even, and disempowering those things, so that when they are able to kind of take steps forward to you, it's not with the energy of hesitation, but that they're able to like really leap forward towards you. When they have the ability to give more in this situation, they got more time available to them. Circumstances change within their finances, and maybe you're able to get together with one another, or they can create big changes in their life that bring them closer to you geographically, or closer even to like the life that they want, or like big goals that they've been working towards, that when that is secure, when that's underway, then it's like, okay, the next inevitable step is kind of, feeding a lot of my time and energy and resources into building this connection with you, bringing you in closer, calling this in a more sort of consistent or profound or obvious sense. So they're not using this time, and it's not like idle. They're, if they're kind of like quiet, or they're busy, or you just haven't really been able to spend a lot of time with one another or connect with one another, or it's just kind of like, okay, we're at a standstill and we're both frustrated by that. This is something that it's almost like I'm trying to find a way forward. I'm trying to see if there's any kind of loophole, if there's any sort of wiggle room, if there's anything that I can do to sort of thrust myself beyond my circumstances, or something that I can come up with, that might be a good solution for you, something that's good for the two of us, so that we can create a little corner for ourselves where, we're getting down to the business of building that intimacy, building that partnership, even if we're sort of like forced to kind of delay how we are actualizing that in like a big way. In the meantime, we can make these preparations internally, behind the scenes, personally, to be able to kind of set that intention with the universe, like, this is what I want. Like, this person sees a future with you. They choose you. They choose this. They want to find a way forward. And it's like they're doing the best they can with what they have, and even kind of thinking outside of the box for different sort of solutions. What is some way that we can make this work? What is some way that we can get away from the things that sort of stand in between us, actually, or even just kind of metaphorically, so that sort of the winds of change are blowing in our favor, so that we have made that pronouncement to the universe that, like, yeah, this love is worth fighting for. This connection is worth fighting for. We also have judgment. So it feels like, expect a big phone call, a big conversation, something where this person, wants to kind of change the tone of the things that you've been talking about. If it's only been kind of like where they're saying, I can't do this, I can only give so much, they've been focusing on kind of lack or limits. This is something where it's like, okay, we've acknowledged all those things, we've labeled them, we've identified them, we've called them by their name. So now what else can we do? What can we do in the opposite direction? How can we focus on something else? How can we build, even in a slow and methodical way, in the direction of something better? Something more, something else. This is long-term energy. This is something where it's kind of like, it's not too soon to start to make those plans for the end of the year. It's not too soon to start to like plant those seeds of intention, to get excited about that, even if we have to like wait to take actual steps, to at least kind of pump each other up as far as like, yeah, this is what we're looking towards. This is what we're working for. Anything that this person is able to share with you in terms of like good news, like, hey, I think something's going to open up for me, around this time, or, I got a lead on something, I got a line on something, I think that this is something that's going to work out. Something where they're not just wanting to kind of like shut you out and I'm busy, or it doesn't work right now. It's kind of like, okay, let me kind of bring you in more on the process of, these are my circumstances. This is the reality of what I'm in the midst of right now, but it's only temporary. It won't last forever. So it's like setting sights toward the horizon, rather than getting so kind of overwhelmed or capsized in the energy of sort of what's happening very immediately. Yeah, and we also have the King of Pentacles. So this person does want to give you some kind of like real reassurance that like, I'm doing the best that I can in this situation, but I know that I need to do more. I know that I need to get more proactive. I need to get more creative. I need to work with you in terms of like, whatever you need to feel okay in this holding pattern, whatever you need to understand that like, just because the progress forward between the two of us is slow at this particular point in time, where it's stopped altogether, that this is not something that I'm looking at as kind of like, well, I guess that's it. That's the end of the road. Let me go off in another direction. It feels like this is somebody that is admiring the fact that you have kind of like stuck with them through this, or that you're standing by them right now. Something that kind of, has let them know like there's a perseverance with this. This is kind of the makings of love which endures. It endures those tough times in addition to kind of, celebrating when things are good. So this is somebody, that it feels like they're not just going to make those secret plans and then pop out one day and like, surprise, I got this promotion that's going to bring me closer to you geographically, or, surprise, like I walked away from that toxic situation and now I'm sort of free to love you the right way, or anything like that. This is somebody that is kind of like, this is what I'm doing. I'm not just giving you empty promises, but let me share with you my progress. Let me give you these little progress reports, or let's put our heads together and like find something. Maybe look at things that I can't see and I'll look at things that you can't see, and we'll see if there's anything we have missed somewhere along the way, or in this present kind of circumstance that either creates doors of opportunity for the two of us sooner than expected, or at least kind of provides each of us with some degree of like reassurance, satisfaction, a sense of safety and stability inside, that like you've come this far with one another on this journey for a reason. This isn't the end of the road, and that this person is definitely very interested in kind of going the distance with you, seeing this period of time that might be kind of troubled through to a place where, you're back on that kind of spectrum of peace with one another. You're able to kind of like move into greater closeness, greater connection, greater companionship with one another. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.